Hi there everybody, it's Steve Carson. We're here on the bow of the Vagabond. Another fantastic, almost record-breaking trip. I think the yellowtail fishing is even better. At 3 o'clock, they charge the boat. Hi there everybody, Steve Carson here, talking about long-range fishing. Well, the year's coming to an end. We're into November, daylight savings is history. And the one thing that happens with long-range fishing at this time of the year, the fish get bigger. Maybe not quite as many as there are in the summer and the early fall, but they are big. What's been happening just lately is the boats are just starting to slide down to what they call Cowtown, or the lower banks. That's just now beginning, and they're finding some pretty big fish. Some years that area is really good, some years it's not. It remains to be seen. Those of you that are OG long rangers will remember the fall and winter of 2005, where basically every bait you casted was a 200-pound tuna. That's probably not going to happen ever again. But lots of very, very nice fish being caught. Also plenty of, I hate to call them small, but let's just call them average size tuna, anywhere from 30 to 90 pounds, are going to be all over the place at the ridge, at Alejos Rocks. Plus there'll be some bigger grade fish, tuna that is, out at Alejos Rocks. The Wahoo fishing's been very, very good on probably the biggest average grade Wahoo I can remember in the last 15 years. There hasn't been one caught over 100 pounds yet, but literally there have been a half a dozen or more over 90 pounds. And again, judging by the pictures, they're not even weighing the 80-pounders. So pretty amazing, amazing fishing. We also just got back from an 8-day trip, 8-day Penn Fishing University trip on the American Angler. Exceptionally good fishing, as it always is, with the great crew of Captain Ray Lopez and the rest of the crew of the American Angler. By the way, shout out to Rocco for getting your captain's license. All right, what a great guy. We did really, really well on the medium grade tuna. Again, I hate to even call them that, 30 to 90 pounds. We also had an absolutely amazing catch from a once-a-year angler, drives to San Diego from Georgia, comes on our Penn Fishing University trip on the American Angler. Scott Mercer caught a 260-pound bluefin just on our standard Penn Fishing University loaner rig, which is a Fathom 40 narrow 2-speed, Carnage 3 West Coast rod, 80-pound test Berkeley braid, and 80-pound test Berkeley big game mono. I tied the splices on those. I was a little bit nervous. He fought that thing like a champ for 90 minutes, popped into low for most of the fight. Crewman from the American Angler right at his elbow the entire time. Just an amazing, magnificent fish. But it also means you can do it too. It's not only going to be the experts and the guys that have been doing it for the last 30 years. Now, why am I holding this chewed up, bitten up? I'm going to put this closer to the camera so you can really see it. This bitten up OG Marauder. Because we're going to talk a little bit about Wahoo trolling. Wahoo trolling can be, you can pretty much go on remote control and just let the crew do everything. If you have a good 80 or 100-pound test rig that you want to troll with, you can. You can use one of the boat's rigs, you can. You don't have to have a 2-speed. A lot of people that I know still troll for Wahoo with Penn Senator 6.0s. So it's pretty basic in terms of the gear. You will hook some tuna while you're trolling, but generally the tuna that you hook trolling for Wahoo are not going to be that big. But there has been a evolution over the years. This, for a long time, many of you will recognize as kind of like the favorite thing. Because one thing that you're going to find is that when you're fishing for Wahoo, you want to exclude the tuna. Just to show you a little bit of history, way, way back, you go all the way back to the 1970s, and this Taddy BCL, yes, that is a light, it feels like a surface iron, but it's gigantic, so it wouldn't really be a surface iron. Yes, we did troll with these. Yeah, I caught a number of Wahoo doing this. Wahoo are not overly bright, to tell you the truth. The problem is getting them from the bite into the boat. Then there was a revolution towards the late 70s, early 80s to the Marauder. And again, you OG long rangers will note that that is an original Mako Marauder, the one that started it all. We also typically troll them on 275 to 400 pound wire, not that not that successful anymore. The fish just, you know, they don't really respond that well, except when they're completely left alone, you know, for a week or more, and then they can be pretty aggressive. But once they've seen anglers and a few have been caught, then that heavy wire is not going to work. So what do you do? And by the way, this is the Rapala Sarda from our friends at Rapala. Pretty nice Wahoo lure. What you can see here, or maybe you can't see it, let me get that undone. I've got 300-pound fluorocarbon on there, okay? So if the Wahoo are feeling a little bit pressured, they don't want to bite on the wire, a lot of times that 200, 300-pound fluorocarbon will work, but guess what? And these lures, none of these lures are cheap. They're $40, $50, $60, $80. If a Wahoo gets a good chomp, even on 300-pound fluorocarbon, he's going right through it. So, what a lot of people do is they tie it straight to their 80 or their 100-pound test monofilament. You have a very short amount of time, short amount of opportunities to catch Wahoo. You're gonna lose some lures if you tie them straight on with your 80 or 100-pound monofilament, but you're gonna get a lot more bites. Before I move on to what we're doing these days, I wanna also add another old school lure, and our friends over in Hawaii I'm sure I can hear you through the internet going, hey, wait, what about big hex heads? What about big jet heads? They absolutely do work, and they still work. Wahoo bite them like crazy. I know you can't feel it through the internet, but this thing weighs a little over a pound. So what I have found myself personally is that when the Wahoo is shaking his head and he has a lot of leverage with this thing, the hook comes out and you end up losing it. So, but the lures these days to use, far and away, the most popular lure has been the Nomad DTX. The 220 size, and this year, the hot pink, every year, a slightly different color is going to be different, but that's going to be an absolute killer. And make sure that you get the new one, the heavy duty version. The earlier version, up until about a year and a half, that was made up until about a year and a half ago, they worked, but they were a little bit fragile, and if the fish whacked them on the deck or whatever, they wouldn't swim right anymore. So bear that in mind. You'll notice that there's a plethora of the hot pink color, and Nomad also makes this, and you can see this one's gotten a lot of bites. This nice shiny color, they only make that in the 200, and the problem with the 200 size is that what? You catch a lot of tuna on it. That big size will exclude most, but not all, of the tuna. And speaking of tuna, when the Wahoo just really don't want to bite, there is nothing better than a Rapala X-Rap 40. And you can see that this one has caught 3 or 4 Wahoo. I tie these straight to the 80-pound test. And when the Wahoo have felt a little pressure and don't want to bite, they will bite these. And so, like I said, one other thing I wanted to add, the wise Wahoo fishermen will always have a nice black Sharpie, so that any shiny swivels or shiny connections or anything like that a Wahoo might bite on and bite you off with, you can dole that shiny item up. So get ready to catch Wahoo. We'll see you on the water.